So I'm surrounded by mountains covered with green fields and really pretty lakes. If you thought landscapes like this only existed in the Alps, you're wrong. I'm in the Pontic Mountains of Turkey near the Black Sea, and in this video we're gonna take a better look at this region. Right now I'm in the gorgeous historic city of Trabzon, which is right next to the Black Sea behind me, which is why it's been a major trading center for over 3,000 years. Greek sources claim that this was a Greek colony all the way back in 756 BC called Trabzon, and then it was under the Roman and the Byzantine empires. Speaking of Roman times, I'm trying to get to the most famous architectural site from the Roman times, but the trick is it's a bit far from the city, so it's a little tricky to get there. Abi, this goes to Machka, Sumela.
Machka.
Sumela to taxi from Machka. Found a minibus that goes to Machka. Maybe it'll take me to Sumela. So it looks like I worked out an agreement with the Dolmuş driver, and he's gonna take me all the way to the monastery, wait for me for 1.5 hours, and come back for like 100 Turkish liras. Okay, so I'm very close to the monastery finally. This last bit takes a little bit of walking, so I'm getting there. It's a lot colder than I expected for sure, but that makes sense because they're literally up in the clouds. The driver is coming with me to take photos. What's your name?
Erol.
Erol? Nadir.
Nadir.
Yes, Turkish. So I'm climbing the steps to the monastery. This monastery was built in the 4th century AD during the reign of the Roman Emperor Theodosius the Great, but it didn't really reach the final form up until about the 13th century AD when it was under the empire of Trabzon. This was created as a sanctuary or a church for the Virgin Mary, and it was built literally in a cave on the side of this huge cliff overlooking this valley. So right now I'm in this area that is called the backyard of the Sumela Monastery. You can pretty much walk through a lot of what used to be the cathedral, and you can see the different rooms and what they were used for. And you can also see a lot of frescoes that have sort of survived for the last 1,000 or 2,000 years. So behind me you see some of the frescoes or artwork from the old church. Sadly, a lot of this, you'll notice, has been heavily defaced over the centuries. This whole region has been in a lot of geopolitical conflicts over the last 2,000 years over different ethnicities, nationalities, and religions. So the people who made the cathedral were not always able to hold on to it and protect it. Most recently, even up until less than 100 years ago, this whole area of Trabzon was sort of populated with the Greeks and Christians. But after the Great Population Exchange, that obviously changed, and there was no one to protect this place for a long, long time. But the Turkish government now has put a lot of effort into restoring and protecting whatever is left of these frescoes. Found a puppy to play with.
So happy.
I think that stick might be a little bit too big for that dog, but no one tell him. Okay, so we have stopped again, like a little bit of drive away from the actual monastery, because sometimes the best view is not from the place itself, but from a little further from it. So I'm back in the city of Trabzon and I'm in the very city center, and this is a really gorgeous city. And if you really take a look at this place doesn't even look Turkish, because until not so long ago it wasn't even Turkish. So after the Byzantine Empire fell apart, the successor state that sort of took over this area was the Empire of Trabzon, and that place became really successful because it taxed all the goods that was exported from here, as this was one of the main ports used to take goods out of Persia and in the Mediterranean Sea and into Europe. So in 1461, 8 years after Mehmed the Conqueror took over Istanbul, he finally took over Trabzon. But even after this was part of the Ottoman Empire, most of the people remaining here were Christians. 50 years after Mehmed the Conqueror took the city, 85% of the people living here were still Christians, and 90% of them were Greeks, which explains all the architecture around here. And it sort of continued to be that exact way for many hundreds of years, up until World War I happened, and then after the Great War finally ended, there was the big population exchange between Greece and Turkey, which is when finally this place became really Turkish, because 100,000 Greek people had to move out of here and into Greece. So I'm just walking around the city center still, and I can't overstate how much this looks like an Eastern European city more than it looks like a Turkish city. Yes, China. Bangladesh, yes. How did you know? So the day is coming to an end, so I'm going to finish this off classic Turkish style with a cup of tea. This is day 2 of my adventures in Trabzon, and I signed up for this tour company for this full day tour to this really cool village called Idar that's like up in the mountains, and it's supposed to be really pretty. But we just came to this like random spot on the way and we stopped for a while. I don't know what's going on. It's like a rafting place. I hope we're not gonna wait here too long. So right now I'm at this place called Husair Highlands, which is at an altitude of 2,400 meters. And this is absolutely gorgeous. This is really cool. So freaking gorgeous. So the people here living up on the hills have this like mini cable car system of transporting goods up there from the streets, which I thought was pretty interesting. So it's starting to rain, so no more drone shots for right now at least. So I was actually wrong earlier. This place is not Husair. Husair is like 5-10 kilometers away. This place is Idar. So I guess this is what I came to see. So I just got some lunch, some good old Turkish beans and rice. Okay, so it's day 3 and I'm at probably one of the more interesting buildings in Trabzon. So this gorgeous bit of architecture, which is right next to the Black Sea behind me, is called the Hagia Sophia. Yes, exactly like the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. This place is not quite as old as that Hagia Sophia, but also has a very similar history. This was built at first in the 13th century as a church during the Empire of Trabzon's reign over this area. Then it was converted to a mosque. Then it was converted to a museum. And then again, more recently in the last decade, it was converted back to a mosque. But it's the weirdest mosque I've ever seen because it totally, 100% looks like a church from the outside. I mean, look at those red tiled roofs. That doesn't look like a mosque. On the side of the building, there's this room where you can see all the Christian frescoes from like 800 years ago. But then if you go in the main entrance, it's a mosque and people are praying inside. It's a very interesting sight to see. So I want to finish the vlog from this very famous tea garden next to the Hagia Sophia. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more videos by me from Turkey or from anywhere else in the world, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If you do want to see where I am in real time and what I'm doing in real time, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Nadir on the go. I post a lot of stories over there. That's it for this one. Catch you guys in the next one from somewhere in Turkey, probably cars.